Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started just because we only have 30 minutes together. So, first of all, good morning, everyone, and welcome to our Wellness Club informational session. Today we will be talking about the wellness clubs. I do want to point out that this session is being recorded, so this information will be available for you to access afterwards. And if you think of anyone else that may be interested in helping be a part of the initiative to launch wellness clubs at your school sites, please feel free to share this information with them as well. Okay, so for our agenda today, again, I just want to welcome you all for being here. We really appreciate you taking time out of your morning to be with us. We are going to walk through the Wellness Club overview and the requirements. And then we are very excited. We have representation today from Bring Change to Mind, and they will be doing a little presentation, walking through what they're all about, the supports they can offer you, and next steps if you're looking to move forward to bring a Bring Change to Mind club to your school site. We will also allow some time for question and answer. So please feel free to utilize the chat box during the info session if you have any questions, and we will do our best to address all of them. And then also, if more questions come up, let's say later on after the training, please always feel free to reach out to a WISP liaison, and we will ensure that your questions get answered. And then lastly, at the very end, we have an announcement about a Club Advisor Collaborative. So stay tuned for that. Okay, so just to recap, for our Wellness Club requirements, the first is that you must be affiliated with a national organization, such as Bring Change to Mind or NAMI on campus. And I do just want to reiterate that today's Wellness Club session is centered towards Bring Change to Mind. Next, we are asking for a commitment from an adult advisor throughout the year. We are asking advisors to attend the online collaborative meetings with the Wellness in Schools program for additional resources and support. And this is that Club Advisor Collaborative that I'll touch on a little bit more at the end of the session. There is also a requirement to have at least 2 student leaders. And of course, the implementation of 4 mental health awareness or wellness activities per school year. And so how can WISP support you? So we are launching a monthly Club Advisor Collaborative for advisors across Contra Costa County. And the purpose of this is really to build community, share ideas, and best practices to ensure the clubs are running efficiently. We can help support you by providing those linkages to affiliated high school mental wellness programs, again, like Bring Change to Mind. We can offer technical assistance and support when it comes to planning and implementing your mental wellness activities on your school campus. You will also have support from a WISP liaison, and then there may also be an additional stipend available in the amount of $500. And so at this time, we're going to throw it to Bring Change to Mind. I do want to point out we do have Jessie Bucci with us, and she is the California Program Associate. And we also have Marjess, who is the NorCal Regional Manager. So we'll go ahead and pass it to you both.
Perfect. All right. Good morning, everybody. Nice to see all of your faces. Can I actually get share screen ability, if that's okay? But yeah, thank you all so much for being here. I'll let Jessie introduce herself as well.
Yes. Hi, everyone. Like Mary said, my name is Jessie Bucci, and I'm the California Program Associate. So Marjess and I kind of would split up Contra Costa. We do have a couple schools in the district already, but looking forward to hopefully working with more of you. So I will let Marjess kick it off.
Yeah, so I'm sure some of you are here because you're interested in bringing Bring Change to Mind to your school, or maybe you already are a club advisor and hoping to figure out other ways to, get the club up and running or provide additional resources for your club. So a lot of this may be a reminder, but we definitely want to be able to spread the word about Bring Change to Mind and let y'all know what we offer. So just as context, Bring Change to Mind, we are a national nonprofit organization working to end the stigma and discrimination surrounding mental illness. So we'll go into a little bit more detail about that. But just some context in terms of how our organization started. So if you see the lovely lady in the button-up shirt, that is Glenn Close. She's an actress and an activist and greatly known for her role as Cruella de Vil in 101 Dalmatians. So if you've watched that movie, I'm sure you recognize her. She is super nice, super, super warm. But she's a co-founder of Bring Change to Mind. And this was inspired by her sister and her nephew who are in the photo. So her sister lives with bipolar disorder and her nephew lives with schizoaffective disorder. I'm not going to go into too much detail about that, but luckily we do have resources on this in our club portal that we'll talk about a little bit later. But really, Glenn Close's mission was, for at least for herself, was to learn about what they go through, provide resources for them, and also the language to talk normally about what they go through so that they don't feel alienated because of what they are dealing with. But over time, her sister approached her and was like, hey, you have created all of these resources. You've created such a nice language for us to be able to discuss mental health at home. Why don't you create something that maybe benefit anybody who is going through something in terms of their mental health or just wants to be a better advocate for their friends and their family? So this is how Brain Change to Mind started. Glenn Close got a couple of her friends, created a team to be able to create this organization. And the organization initially started with making commercials and campaigns promoting mental health. So you can probably look and check on YouTube or find some of those. There's a couple of cool other actors and actresses in them. But we still weren't really getting to the core of where the stigma was starting and being able to really get to the foundation of, okay, how can we really talk about mental health normally? So we did some research and found a couple of things here. So I'll just read them out. So the first one here says 1 in 4 adolescents live with a mental health condition. Research has shown that half of all lifetime mental illnesses begin by the age of 14. So roughly around the time that students start high school. And then because of stigma, because of this awkwardness of talking about it, we're not really prioritizing it in our own lives. The average delay in treatment is 8 to 10 years after the onset of symptoms. So learning all of this is a reason why we decided to create our high school program, because if we're seeing that things are starting very early on in life, it makes sense to be able to start the conversation now. And we know that high school students, they are powerhouse, they're change makers. We want to be able to utilize them to really, one, build their own agency in terms of making those changes on campuses and in their community. But most importantly, to be able to normalize the conversation for them. So if they're dealing with anything in terms of their mental health, they're feeling a little bit anxious going into a test that they're about to take, they know that they can address that for themselves and also for their peers. So what's cool about our high school program is that we have a very, very large community. Over the last 5 years, we've been able to build it. So we initially launched here in Northern California. So we had a couple of clubs like Palo Alto High School, Gun High School. They were able to launch our program. And since then, we've been able to get it across the country in places like New York, Arizona, Indiana. So a lot of students, just like the students that we work with here, are wanting to make that change on their campus to make it more educational, more empathetic, really build up their community. So our numbers are continuing to grow, and we're hoping to continue to allow it to grow, especially with partnering like people like you. All right, so what are the clubs? What do they look like on campus? So we really want the clubs to be treated like any club on campus, where they are engaging with students and also making it a fun space for students to be a part of. But the key thing that we want to be able to make sure that the clubs are doing is making it educational and advocacy based. We'll talk a little bit more about that because we do have resources to allow clubs to do that. But most importantly, like I said, we really want students to engage in fun activities, fun events, however they see fit for their school, and having students participate in it. We're also open to any student. So any student, regardless of their age, regardless of their identity, anything, we really want to welcome as many students as possible who really want to be advocates for mental health. And the one thing too is that we want the clubs to be peer-to-peer led. So really making sure that the students are leading the charge with these clubs, and also being able to facilitate it for their students, because I'm sure, they're going to have a little bit more, genuine conversations if it's coming from peers. So people that they identify with as well. And then one thing that we like to note is that we're not a form of counseling or therapy. So the reason why we mention this is because Bring Change to Mind, we are not professionals in mental health. We really just want to be able to build up advocacy in this space. So of course we want to direct students to other resources that they can utilize in terms of counseling or therapy, but we just want to be able to start the conversation, talk about the basics of mental health. And that's it. So one cool thing that I do want to mention is that we are proud to be evidence-based. So one thing I will mention is that we do a survey every year. So once the school year ends, we'll make sure to survey our students, our advisors, just to be able to see, what is working, what is not working, how can we continue to improve our resources for our clubs. But we have had our UC Berkeley team research a little bit about how Bring Change to Mind was initially starting our high school program. And they did find that students and also advisors who are participating in it saw an improvement in terms of their mental health knowledge, their attitudes, really wanting to improve their high school campuses. So it is nice to know that, our resources and our organization, it is working, and we're hoping to continue to build it as much as possible as we continue to collect data every single year. So speaking of data, we do have a couple of things that we've been able to grab from last school year. So I'll just read these out so we're all on the same page. But 95% of students have said that the club has helped them understand where to get resources. So outside of Bring Change to Mind, are they looking into therapy? Are they considering, the crisis lines? Are they utilizing that? They know where to find that. 82% agreed that Bring Change to Mind clubs made the school feel safer for everybody. 92% of the club members say that they feel more connected to the school community because of their club. 95% of surveyed students agree that they talk more about mental health because of their club. So sometimes with family members, other people in the community, which is really awesome. And then 92% of surveyed students agree that they take better care of their own mental health because of the club. So really all of this allows us to know, okay, our mission is working. What we want out of these clubs are working. But the goal is to maybe even get 100% for surveys to come. But we're happy to know that students are finding their own agency and wanting to build their mental health advocacy.
Yes, so I will take it away now for the fun part, support and opportunities that we provide as an organization. So first, something that's really exciting, we don't want our clubs to worry about where their funds are coming from to run their activities and events on campus. So every year that you have a club on campus, we offer $500 in grant funds. So the clubs are free of cost to the school, and we also offer this money just to ensure that different things that the club wants to host, they're not worried about where this money is coming from. So grant funds can be used really for anything Bring Change to Mind related, whether it be like food for meetings and recruitment. Food goes a long way, especially with recruitment, guest speakers to come to the school, or again, those supplies for activities and events. So we're really, really happy to be able to offer $500 annually to each of our clubs. And then we also have merch and newsletters. So Marjess works on our newsletters. They are amazing. They give a ton of really great resources, updates on the events that we're hosting. We have really increased our number of opportunities for our club members and advisors this year. So you can always learn about those in the newsletters. And then merch is really exciting. So every year, the first year that you have a Bring Change to Mind club, you get a banner along with everything. And then all the years after that, you continue to get merch to work on recruitment, pens, stickers, crisis cards, things like that. So this is a really great way to get some interest in the club, especially during club rush and things like that. So this is probably our best asset, I would say, is our club portal. So this, Marjess mentioned it briefly earlier. So this is home to all Bring Change to Mind resources, and all of our clubs, advisors, club members, club leaders have access to this portal. It is password protected, and it has a ton of amazing resources. So first, we have over 50 club presentations. So because we are so education and advocacy based, we really want the students to pick which topics interest them. And again, since we have over 50, chances are that we have the topic that clubs want to talk about. Some are very, very specific, and then some are a little bit more broad, but really a really wide range of different topics that our presentations cover. And then we always love to share out national and local support resources and make sure that our clubs, both nationally and locally, have the resources that they need. And then the event and activity ideas. This is probably our club's favorite resource on the portal. So basically, our event and activity ideas are listed on the portal from beginning to end, how you host the activity or event, how much it will cost, if anything, how many students it will reach, and all that good stuff. So we really want to set the students up for success when hosting these activities. And then we have forms and applications for all the amazing opportunities that we offer and more. So the portal is a really, really great resource that we love to offer our clubs. Here are just some examples of things that clubs have done. Probably my favorite, I always point this out, is just the classic wall of compliments, which is down in the bottom corner with the hearts. So super simple. Clubs cut out hearts with construction paper, use Polaroid cameras, which all of these supplies can be bought with those grant funds, and Polaroid cameras to take pictures of individuals or groups of friends, and students come around and write compliments. So it's a really simple way to make someone's day, but just an example of one of our activities, and then all the activities listed here will be up on the portal. So these are just some examples of things that clubs have done. We also have a partnership with Headspace. So Headspace is an awesome meditation app. I use it myself. It helps a ton with stress and anxiety, but a lot of our clubs will utilize this resource during club meetings at the beginning or end of a meeting to kind of ground everyone, especially when they cover heavier topics. And Headspace is typically about $145 a year, but with our partnership, all of our club members will get Headspace completely for free, which is something that we're really, really excited to be able to offer. And leadership opportunities for students. I will go through these rather quickly because we do want to focus a ton on advisor support, which is the next slide. But for our students, we have public speaking and partner engagement opportunities. So we had a student, for example, speak at the state capitol last year. He was amazing and did really great work. So we love to offer these opportunities to the students. We also have a regional teen advisory board. So students apply for this board. They're selected based on, their responses to our questions, and they give some amazing responses. They're really, really dedicated to mental health and breaking the stigma. So we have a California teen advisory board, and this year our students are just super stellar. They've been amazing. And we also want to make sure that the connections and support remain after high school. So we do have a pretty exciting alumni engagement network to make sure that alumni are still involved in Bring Change to Mind and continue to get opportunities. And then, of course, support from Bring Change to Mind headquarters. So myself or Marjess are always available. We also have club leader trainings, which are virtual. So anywhere in California, students can participate in these trainings. And then mental health career pathways workshops are semi-new, and they've been going really well. We'll bring in different mental health professionals and kind of teach students different routes they can go if they do want to go into the mental health field. And then advisor-specific support. So we know that you already have a ton on your plates. So we really want to provide some support for advisors and make sure that they feel like they are getting that support from Bring Change to Mind staff, especially. So first, we have a club advisor guidebook, which is up on the portal. The table of contents is right there, but there's a ton of great information on how to work with student leaders, how to manage the club, and additional support resources for advisors. So the advisor guidebook is a great starting off point. And then, of course, dedicated Bring Change to Mind staff support. So myself and Marjess will do check-ins with advisors and make sure that they're feeling like they have all the support that they need to run the club successfully, while also really empowering the students. There's a fun Facebook group for club advisors so they can connect with advisors from across the country. We also do club advisor trainings and then also check-ins and a little bit more informal coffee chats so that you can connect with advisors from California, but also from across the country. And then we also offer QPR suicide prevention training. So these are free of cost to the school. All Bring Change to Mind staff are QPR certified. So we can offer these suicide prevention trainings for up to 25 staff members at a school. So this is something that we're really, really happy that we can offer.
Great. So one of our biggest events that we have during the fall is our national summit. So every region will be able to do this in person, but what we do is we welcome all of our students in Northern California, have them travel to a specific location where we will host our summit that will include one workshop of their choice, a lot of fun activities to be able to do, also be able to network and connect with other clubs. And also, most importantly, be able to chat with a guest speaker that we'll have. So we'll have somebody who is very deep in their mental health journey to be able to inspire and talk to students. So this is a really cool way for students to, again, network with one another in person. So we always make sure to host that every year. And we'll also offer transportation for students because we know it's going to be very hard to travel through the Bay Area sometimes. So we'll give them buses and they can head over to the event. This typically happens during either late October, early November. So we'll always make sure to let students know that they can participate in this.
Awesome. So I did want to go a little bit more in depth into the QPR suicide prevention training. So QPR stands for question, persuade, and refer. So these are just 3 steps. It sounds super simple. It is definitely a little bit more involved, but it is a great concrete way to help with suicide prevention. We know this is a big, big issue right now that a lot of schools are facing. So we're really happy that we can provide this support. And again, all Bring Change to Mind staff are certified in QPR. So we can provide that training. And if there are more than 25 staff members that are interested, we can just break it up into 2 trainings. So this, again, is a free training to the school that we are able to provide. It takes about an hour and a half. There's a lot of engagement and you will learn a ton. I know when I got certified, I learned a ton. And it's a really, really great skill to have. You can really help save a life, which is huge. And of course, we always love to share our resources, so 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline, but we also do have a partnership with the Crisis Text Line, and we love to share this out with students by texting BC2M to 741-741. Students are connected with free confidential support, and a lot of our clubs will post these numbers on campus to not only bring more awareness to what the Bring Change to Mind Club is, but also to just let them know that they're not alone and there is support out there. So next steps for starting a club, identifying at least one faculty advisor. And Mary did mention the 2 passionate student leaders. We are okay with like 2 to 5 passionate student leaders. We have the number 4 here. But as long as there are 2 student leaders, we find that that's a pretty good number to start with. And then signing and returning the terms of agreement, which you can, of course, review and let us know if there are any questions with that. But yeah, next steps are pretty simple. It's all done online. So the terms of agreement are really easy to access. So we would love to pause for questions. I also do have a Google form. It's really quick. If anybody is interested in starting a club or has any questions, definitely fill this form out. Super simple to access, but we would love to work with you. And yes, any questions? Thank you, Marjess, for your input during the presentation as well. And I will also say, shout out to our social media. Our Instagrams are really great. So we have the BC2M High School account and also our Bring Change to Mind larger organization account. So if you're interested in checking those out, we will post a ton of resources, events, and activities on there as well. So those are great things to check out. So let's see. Oh, awesome, Mary. Good questions. So yes, the name, these questions will also be in the terms of agreement. But first question, there will need to be the name Bring Change to Mind or BC2M in the club name. But it can be, if there's already like a mental health club on campus, it could be like your mental health club name dash BC2M, just as long as Bring Change to Mind is somewhere in there. And then second question, what strategies may you provide to support campuses where there is little to no engagement or interest in participating in a club of this nature? So that's a really great question. And we are kind of seeing that a little bit more across the board with all of our schools at the moment. So clubs have gotten really, really creative with how they are working on recruitment and retention. So definitely getting students into the room is the first step. So providing those like donut parties, pizza parties, fun things like that, which grant funds can be used for that for recruitment. And then starting off with kind of simple topics and activities. So making the club meetings really, really fun and utilizing those activities on the portal, especially things like stress balls, stress kits, things like that. The art activities are always really popular as well. So like the art and self-care activities have been really popular. And then the Club Advisor Guidebook has a ton of really great information on different recruitment ideas. And then the last thing I would say just off the top is the Facebook group, the advisor Facebook group, bouncing ideas off of other advisors about what has worked and what hasn't, and definitely leaning on your Bring Change to Mind support person. One-on-one meetings are always available. So we could meet with you and kind of determine what the issue is with your club and how we can better help. And then, the middle school question. So that's a great question. We have piloted a middle school program in Southern California and then also in Indiana. And those pilot programs are going really well. We have dedicated middle school content, and that has been really, really working well. It's a little bit more specifically geared towards middle schoolers in that it's more broken down. So the advisors have steps and more like a curriculum-based situation, which is great. So once a club has a dedicated high school program, then the middle school program, once we open it up to the wider United States, it's more likely that a middle school program can be implemented once there's already a high school club going. Let's see, we have another question. A school-based mental health therapist and was asked by school administrators if I would be interested in being a club advisor. Is this appropriate given that? Yes, Cassie, so that's a great question. So we do have a lot of school-based therapists who are the advisors. So while it's not required, we do find that it's very helpful to have a mental health background. So I think you would be a great fit. That would be awesome. And then is there anything that Bring Change to Mind does to support and or engage foster and homeless youth in schools? So great question. We definitely are working on this. This is an area where we have seen a lot of need growing. So in terms of our portal resources, we do have presentations on this, but this is something that during the summer, we have like summer committees where we work on specific topics. I do believe this is something that will be a role of the summer committee this year. So we're definitely working on engagement with this population. I know that we do have some staff members who are focusing a little bit more heavily on foster youth at the moment, which is exciting. So we are almost at time, but any additional questions? Marjess, anything that you want to add?
No, you answered everything perfectly, so we're good. Yeah,
fabulous.
I have something to add. I just want to thank both you and Jessie for Marjess. Excuse me. I want to thank you, Jessie and Marjess, for joining us this morning on this Zoom call and giving that excellent presentation that really outlines Bring Change to Mind. Since I don't see any other questions in the chat, I am just going to go back to our presentation really quickly, just to kind of wrap up here. And so I do want to just encourage you all to stay connected with us. Of course, for Bring Change to Mind specific questions, you can always contact Jessie and Marjess, but you do have another layer of support with the Wellness in Schools program. Again, this is being recorded and we will send all this information, but every liaison's information is here for you to reference. And then just lastly, I want to end with announcing that Club Advisor Collaborative. So we are creating that supportive network. and it is launching in February 2024. So the first meeting will be on February 20th, 2024 from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. It is virtual, and so we highly encourage you to scan this QR code here and go ahead and register. And again, this is that supportive network to come together, share best practices, share ideas, maybe bring up any challenges or concerns, and just work together as a community to help expand our wellness clubs and ensure they're running efficiently. Okay. And that was all that I had. Is there anyone else that has any final comments? Okay. Well, thank you again, everyone. And please feel free to reach out if you have any additional questions or need any other support. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Mary.